It's been 7 days since Season 2, Season of Blood has dropped, and in this video, we're going to cover the gamut of emotions that I've read, seen, heard online. I hope you'll stick around. We'll see you on the other side. Now, before we get into the whole range of emotions that I've read and seen online when it comes to Season 2, Season of Blood, I want to ask this question. Did you guys seriously think Blizzard was going to fix this game with one season? That being Season 2, Season of Blood. Did you honestly feel they were going to completely erase all the bad will and put this game in top tier status with one season, one change? Come on. I have to say, it's almost laughable. Now, please, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem, and I completely understand how the majority of the player base was hoping for that, was wanting it. They want this game to be a game that they can enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with it. I totally understand and respect someone having that wish. I get it. However, let's be real, guys. This game was not going to get fixed with one season. It just wasn't going to happen. And how do we know that? You guys have heard me say many times, the past is a good indication of the future. And when we look at the past of Blizzard with how they deal with their games, well, it clearly shows us they take a long time to get their games to playable and enjoyable status. It's all there. There's no secret. They've taken long time and periods of time to fix games. That's just how they operate. So to think that Diablo 4 Season 2 was going to totally erase all the bad will, I think was a little bit unrealistic. So in this video, I kind of want to set the expectations here, and I want to share my opinion on what I feel how this game is going to evolve, because the more I go into what is being said online about this game, the more I just, shake my head and think, seriously? Do you really think there's one magic bullet that Blizzard has that's going to address all the problems and boom, they're all gone? Come on, guys. Okay, so before we get into the whole euphoria of what's transpired in just 7 days in this game, I do want to mention that we've just learned that trading has been suspended due to a duplication exploit. So if you're looking at trading, you're not going to be able to because of this duplication exploit. Okay, so now the gambit of emotions that in just 7 days has been expressed with the player base vis-a-vis Diablo 4 Season 2, Season of Blood. So I'm not going to get into all of it. I'm just going to kind of give you some of the highlights. And one of the ones that I consistently see all the time is that, and this is a good one, and I actually agree with it. There's a huge sentiment out there that the Blood Harvest event is amazing. The mob density, the excitement, just the wave of mobs that you face, and the dark and eerie feeling you get when you get into the Blood Harvest event. A lot of people are saying, man, I wish Helltides was like this. Helltides should be more like the Blood Harvest event. I actually agree with that. I think the Blood Harvest was a great improvement to the game. It's a great event for XP, killing mobs, the density. So I think making Helltides more like Blood Harvest event is actually a good recommendation from the player base. The other thing that people have been saying is, okay, re-rolling is now cheaper. The cost of gold for re-rolling is cheaper, but now the cost of the mats is higher. So Blizzard has shifted the problem from, oh my God, is so much gold to re-roll. This is ridiculous. To now they've shifted it to the cost of the mats required to re-roll an item being the problem. So they've just shifted the problem. So there's still a problem. So I've seen a lot of complaints about that. And probably the biggest one is a lot of the player base are complaining about performance issues. A lot of lag, games crashing, and constantly freezing, especially on the console side. I got a lot of feedback on my videos and in my live streams, specifically from the console player base, saying it's unplayable, that I can't even log in. And I really do think, Blizzard learned a lesson from Season 2 vis-a-vis, as we know, there was a 2-hour delay in the launch of Season 2 because Blizzard hadn't dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. So there was a 2-hour delay. And I suspect this rush into Season 2 is why we are getting these performance issues and they haven't been able to address it. Like, I was live streaming and I was in a Blood Harvest event and I was experiencing this constant lag and freezing. Like, visually, 2 enemies in the Blood Harvest were in my sight and I went to go engage with them and they were just frozen. I couldn't damage them. They weren't damaging me. So I've experienced this constant freezing and lag issue as well. So I think Blizzard has learned their lesson. I think in future seasons, we're going to see a gap in between the seasons being launched, unless they're able to address these issues prior to the launch. But I think they learned a lesson not having a gap in between the seasons, but only time will tell. Now, these are the highlights, okay? And, okay, Sammy, this is normal. Every game has, player-based concerns. And granted, you're absolutely right. However, we're only 7 days, okay? Today is actually the 7th day Season 2 has been out, all right? And the euphoria of the player base when Season 2 launched has now changed to not everybody, but it's enough for it to raise my eyebrows. Someone who's constantly got their finger on the pulse of Diablo 4. And now the euphoria has turned with some of the player base to, is D4 bad again? Like, we've done the 360 circle, euphoria, and now, oh, wait a minute, is this game bad again? And I just want to say, put on your brakes, man. Put on your brakes. Like, did you really think Blizzard was going to fix this game in one season? Like, let's seriously dive into that question. Did you really think everything that's wrong with this game, do you really think they would have fixed it? And that's why I asked the question in the beginning, did you really think they would fix it in one season? I think it's an unrealistic expectation, to be quite honest with you. Now, as I said in the beginning, I don't blame anyone for feeling that, but I truly believe that's really an unrealistic expectation. This game is not going to get fixed, was not going to get fixed in Season 2. It just wasn't. That, I think, deserves honorable mention, but I didn't highlight it in the preview segment of this video because in order to do this part of the game, you need to be level 70, 80, 90, level 100. And what I'm referring to is the 5 new bosses in Season 2 and the target farming of these bosses for Uber uniques and uniques, right? And I didn't mention it in the preview segment because, like I said, a lot of people have not reached that level yet, the end game, right? They're still grinding to it, although it's 40% faster. But there's a big chunk of the player base that just doesn't have 7, 8, 9 hours a day to play the game, right? So naturally, they're going to get to the end game a lot slower, right? But I am hearing sprinkles of both sides of the fence when it comes to these 5 new bosses. in my videos and in my live streams, and that is I've heard the good side where, oh my God, it's so much fun. It's finally I can target farm uniques and uber uniques, and the boss fights are fun, and I'm getting great drops, and the drops are enormous, and the quantities are high. Yay, 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 that kind of thing. And I've also heard the other side, the other spectrum of that, where they're like, oh my God, it takes forever. For example, Duriel fight. The mats required to fight Duriel. It's so you got to repeat the same events over and over, and it takes forever to get the mats, and then you go and fight Duriel, and I kill him so quickly, and yeah, the drops are great, but just the amount of farming that's required, it's not worth my time. So I've heard both spectrums, and I didn't mention it in the previous segment because, again, not everybody's at the end game yet. So time will tell, and we'll see how that is going to pan out. But I am hearing little undertones on both sides, and we're going to see in time which side is more predominant. So I'm keeping my eye out on that. Okay, so overview. We started with a big bang, Euphoria, when season 2 launched, and I would say that for the most part, the feeling was, wow, this game is fun again. I'm having fun, and surprisingly, there was a huge player base that came back, a huge amount, right? That really, I have to say, I was surprised by that. So there was a lot of the player base, more came back than I originally thought was going to come back. So that was my first initial reaction when season 2 launched. Obviously, like most of you, I too had that euphoria. Wow, this is fun. This is enjoyable. Leveling, the levels are going quick. The densities, the mob densities and the blood harvests are amazing. Wow, this is great. I'm leveling quick. So, the fun factor was back and alive. It was good, and now the sentiment has done a 360, and people are asking, and I'm seeing this more and more, and this is why I'm doing this video. The question is being asked again, is D4 bad again? And like I said in a previous segment, put on your brakes, because here's my opinion on what's going to happen and what's going to transpire, and why really I feel asking of the question, is D4 bad again, is premature, because this game was never going to get fixed in season 2, 100%. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, like you, I would have preferred this game be launched in an ideal state and an end state where it was fun all the time and we weren't having these discussions. So please keep that in mind when I continue to tell you my theory on what's going to transpire. Of course, we all wanted the game to be launched 100% of the game being fun, enjoyable. Of course, that goes without saying. But I deal in facts and actuality and who we are actually dealing with. Like I said, the past has a good indication, gives us a good indication of the future. We're dealing with Blizzard, okay? They have a history of taking forever to get games to a good state, all right? So I'm taking the facts of what we're dealing with and applying it to the logic and my theory, okay? So this game is going to be fixed when the annual expansion drops. A lot of you are not going to like that, because that takes us into second quarter of 2024, the summer of 2024. That's basically, June is going to be 1 year that this game is going to be live. And that's when we already know Blizzard has confirmed there's annual expansion. So that takes us into summer of 2024. And that's when this game potentially could be at an ideal state. Now, Sammy, why do you think that? And I've said and made this position. If you go into my Diablo 4 playlist on my YouTube channel, you'll see me saying this. I've said it. You go check it out. There gonna not make major changes until the annual expansion because of one reason: money. They need to justify the cost of the expansion, which I've done a video on this already. I believe is going to be $50 plus for the annual expansion. So they're going to drop the really good stuff and the game-changing stuff on the annual expansion because they need to justify the cost of the annual expansion. If they were to do those big, huge, game-changing changes now, do you think we would buy the annual expansion with a little fine-tune coming in the annual expansion? No. So they're going to do the opposite. They're going to do little tweaks all the way throughout till the annual expansion, and then the annual expansion will have a big shift. That's my opinion. That's how I think it's going to go down. So this is why when I hear the conversation coming to the forefront again, is Diablo 4 bad? Like the asking of that question right now in season 2, I think is a little bit unrealistic. I understand why. Players want the game to be end state right now. They want it to be 100% fun and good and viable now. I totally get it. I want this, of course. I want that too. I wanted this game to be launched in a perfect, ideal state. Of course. Who doesn't? We don't want to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, 20 seasons. Nobody wants that. But I'm taking the facts and applying it to my logic. So it's a little bit, I don't understand. Well, I understand, but I think it's unrealistic that people are saying, yo, it's D4 bad again. Come on, guys. This game, in my opinion, is not going to be in an ideal state. The earliest is when the annual expansion drops. Okay, that'll do it, everyone. I would love to hear your feedback, and please don't come at me that I'm making excuses. In all honesty, if you really look at it, I'm being a realist here. I hope you see that I'm trying to apply logic into what I said in this video. This is not about me making excuses. This is not about me trying to get people to, change their mind and play this game. It's not about that. It's about me taking the facts and applying my logic to it and giving you my theory on it. So take it for what it's worth. But anyway, that'll do it. I hope you found the content of this video valuable and informative. I would love to hear your comments and feedback. Like I've said many times in all my videos, the interaction with you guys has been tremendous, and really it's educational as well. You guys have taught me a lot. We've had some pretty in-depth conversations. So please give me your feedback. Hey, let me hear your thoughts on season 2. Good, bad, ugly. I would love to hear it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. And if you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Hope to see you all in Sanctuary, and we'll hope to see you next time. Have a good one.